Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, besties. It's me, Nat, back again with another Happy Home Paradise video. Today, as you can see, we are building Friga, a drive-in movie theater in the desert. Now, is it morally reprehensible to put a penguin's house in the desert? Maybe, but I just had a vision in my mind of like a drive-in movie theater with like a big full moon behind the projector screen, both outside and inside. So that is what we're going for here. I think I did an okay job. I think that I succumbed to my own too much gene. I am not a Virgo like Jenna, but I definitely think that I do have sometimes a too much gene. My urge to clutter things up sometimes overtakes my other rational thinking skills when it comes to building. But I do like it. I think it got sort of the idea that I was looking for. I'm very upset though because it's not a full moon. It's like a crescent moon. And I imagine that has to do with like the day on which I built it. And if I came back on a different day, it would be a full moon. But I don't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to. But you guys, you'll get it. You'll get the idea. It's very beautiful and it's fun. I really like the outside. I really love the house exterior and how it like blends in with the desert. And I kind of wish that I had used more color on the outside to like contrast it with the house, like the cars and the blankets and things. And the inside is really cool. The inside is fun. Speaking of cars, don't mind the car noises, besties. I'm recording this voiceover at a very weird time of day. So it's really, the traffic's a little unpredictable, but we're going to try our best. But you're not here to hear me talk about the build today, or maybe you are, but if you are, I'll have you know, I will talk about the build a little bit, but I'm doing a Q&A. I posted about it in my Coco video in honor of 9K. Someone was like, you should do a Q&A. Shout outs to that person. Sorry that I forgot who that was who said that, but shout outs to you. I'm doing a Q&A. Again, my last one was on my Savannah video. This one is on this video. We love to see it. Okay, I think I'm just gonna jump right into the questions. I have them pulled up on my phone here. The first question I have is from Pizza Crusta. How do you get inspired for outside builds? I feel like I'm always copying someone and I struggle to make something original. Now, first of all, bestie, the first piece of advice I can give you is absolutely to copy people. That sounds bad when you say it in that way, but imitation is one of the sincerest forms of flattery, and I think that one of the cool things about being in a community is that you can reference other people. So if you get an idea for something, and you want to like post a picture of this cool thing that you built, you can just tag the person and be like, hey, I saw this thing you built, and then I built it similarly, and I think it's really cool, and 9 times out of 10 they love it. I think more than 9 times out of 10, honestly, like a 9.5 times out of 10 people love to be tagged in things that are inspired by their builds. I love it. It's great. I don't know why every car that's at the light next to my house, it has the loudest engine in the world today. Can I have like a Prius pull up or something? Like, please. I'm trying to do a Q&A for my besties. Oh yeah, here is when I changed it to nighttime because obviously it's got to be nighttime. It's a movie theater. Duh. Anyways, yeah, that's my first piece of advice is absolutely copy things. Take a piece from one build and a piece from another build and smash them together in a way that makes sense for you. And when it comes to making things that are original, when you have a vision in your mind and it like comes to you of like, oh, I want to try this, just try it. The worst thing that can happen is that you waste some time in your game and you have to redo something or undo something. But at the end of the day, it's just a game. So try it, give it a try, and then if you don't like it, try it a different way. I also like to draw things. I'm very bad at drawing, but I'll draw like random circles and stuff. I'll like open my notes app on my phone and I'll draw just like random whatever, and label it, and then I'll come back to it later and be like, oh yeah, I was gonna build that, and then I give it a try. So yeah, that's, I guess, the best advice I could give. I do be copying people all the time. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love to steal. As you can see, I'm placing down these like barricade things, which I haven't really used. And I thought that they were fun. I think that they contributed a lot to the over-cluttering of this space, though. I feel like it should be more open, even though it works for, like, the car theme. Anyways, next question. Okay. This is from Espresso. If you could get rid of any villager, who would you get rid of and why? Bo. Second, no, I'm not getting rid of Bo. As much as I joke about it, I have a very specific lineup of villagers that I curated over a long period of time that I'm not changing. For a different island, on the other hand, I have ideas. But we'll get to that in a second. Alternatively, if you could bring any missing villagers into New Horizons, who would you bring back? For missing villagers that I miss from the past, obviously Chatter, and probably also like Lolly and Kitty and Bubbles and Rasher and all those guys. For missing villagers from the game, I'd love to see. I imagine they're going to add in the Splatoon and Zelda villagers when those games come out in the next year or so. But I think the 7-Eleven villagers were kind of fun, and I really wish they would bring back more of the N64 villagers because, non-Japanese players never got to experience those villagers, and it was cool to have them in the update, the last update. We got Chabwick, we got a couple of others, so more of those guys. This one is from Tanukling. If you haven't answered this already, what's your favorite ACNH personality type? I think my favorite is probably the Smug, because they just have the funniest things to say. I don't know. Marshall just cracks me up every time I talk to him. I guess that's my answer. I've like lost the ability to answer questions. See, I replaced the barricades with the incredibly OP log stake item in the like light wood color. Absolutely beautiful. Blends in with the sand. Very natural. Does it make sense to have log stakes in the desert? Absolutely not. But we're doing it anyway. Also, I picked that angled sign because I wanted to have a sign pointing the cars in the right direction. But obviously there's no movie theater sign on that object, so I picked the owl for the museum because the owl and the penguin are a similar shape. That was my reasoning behind that. This next question is from Clumpy Claire. Now that you're a major Hollywood celebrity, as we all know, is there anyone you'd love to collaborate with? This question, as I stated in my I think in my Coco video, but maybe also in the New Leaf Town tour, or maybe I have those mixed up. I'm incredibly shy. So I guess any of the people that I've shouted out already, I'd love to collab with. There's lots of other people who I follow who I'm like, I would love to collab with them, but I'm just too nervous to say who, because I'm shy. So I'm totally open to collabs. I'm just too shy to answer that question with specific names. But that's my cop-out answer. See, and here we have the problem with the fact that I'm limiting myself with my own like island designs. Ideally, I wouldn't give Friga like a nautical looking blanket to put outside of her house because she lives in the desert, but that's like the best blanket that I had for this space, so I just picked it, and I think it's cute, but it's like I want my designs look good together, but if I use them in every single build, then every single build has the same color scheme, you know? If only we could just put rugs outside, Nintendo. That would make it so much easier. But they're never gonna let us do that. It's very annoying. But yes, I think that was also my struggle with this build. Because it's like, even if I wanted to make it more colorful, I was gonna end up with the roadblock of using the same colors I always use. Enough about the build. On to the next question. This one's from Eomi Berry. Hey there, Eomi Berry. And they asked, how are you doing? I cannot even begin to describe the mood that I'm in. I'm like tired and like fully awake at the same time, and it's very odd. Their second question is, what made you decide to start streaming, posting on YouTube? Well, I started it obviously just for fun, as like a hobby, because I've always been a creative person. I've always loved like designing games. Like I've said this before, I've played every version of The Sims. I started playing it when I was like 6, and I loved building houses and decorating them and doing creative sim and all of that stuff. And obviously New Horizons as a game gives that a very similar type of gameplay, and I'm familiar with this series as well. So I guess partially that, partially not having a lot to do during quarantine. So I was like, why don't I just like put energy into a hobby and like stick with it. And then partially because it's like, if I grind hard enough, stay on my grind, besties, then, maybe I could actually make it into something and stop sending in job applications to work retail in the middle of a pandemic and make money doing YouTube. And like that's the ultimate goal, is just to be able to be independent and sustain myself, and I'm working closer and closer to that goal every single day. So yeah, I guess that's why I post. I don't know. Is that a real answer? These questions are so complicated compared to my last Q&A, It's like real deep stuff. It's deep hours right now. Speaking of deep hours, this question is from Jack. How do you stay focused and committed to a single theme on your island? I find that after a while I get bored and give up or reset. That is a good question. I think partially I just went into this knowing I wanted to keep the same island and the same villagers. I got attached to my villagers. I talked about that before in my chatter video. So I'll link that in the card. A little sneaky plug right there. Where I talk about how attached I am to like my villagers and their personalities and like their interactions with each other. So if I were to reset, I would lose all of that. And so the combination of like the name of my island, because obviously if I don't reset, then I can't change the name, and then the villagers that I have, and then also just like what I'm familiar with and what I'm able to draw references from real life to like get inspiration, it sort of just led me to the theme that I have. It's not as though Nautilus couldn't have a different theme, or like I might wake up one day and decide, I want to do a Japanese island now and just keep the name and keep my villagers. But I think that, having an attachment to your island beyond like its physical appearance really helps me to like keep on task, because I see other people's islands. I'm like, that's so cool. I love what they did with that. Ooh, we're going to the inside. Speaking of that's so cool, I tried to do something here similar to my Savannah video, which is why I picked this build actually to be for the Q&A, because I thought that would be like a cute little reference, where I create like an outside-inside type of separation, and I have the full moon, because obviously the outside of the house was not giving me a full moon, which is very rude. But we got it inside, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, having that attachment to my island was super helpful in staying on track. And honestly, don't be afraid to reset. If you're really stuck, resetting is always an option. Absolutely no shame in resetting. Same with flattening. If you like your villagers and the name of your island and like where your resident services is located and all of those things that you can't really change, flattening is always great, because you get to keep all those things that you had, but you're changing things up, and you could switch to a different theme or a different vibe or whatever. For example, the vibe outside of my house right now is all of the loudest trucks in the world driving by. So yeah, that's a good example of a vibe. Oh my god. Picking the wallpaper took forever. I knew I wanted this as the background, but like getting the actual colors, that took forever. I kind of miss this yellow, but it's too late. I mean, I could go back and change it, but like you guys know what I mean. I gotta stick with my guns. Not every build is going to be perfect, but I am happy with this build because I tried something new and interesting, and in the process of doing this I got ideas for other builds. So it's a success in that sense, even if I did go a little crazy with the clutter, as is my prerogative. Okay, now there's dogs barking in the background. What is it about this hour that's so antagonistic to me recording this for you? Anyways, as you can see, beautiful full moon. On to the next question. This one is from Leo. I remember you recommended My Neighbors the Yamadas, which I watched and fell in love with. So my question would be, is there any other movies you can recommend, whether they be underrated or just some personal faves? I am all ears. That is a good question. Let me think. Ooh, here's a good one. I'm sure a lot of you in the audience may have already heard of this. If you're looking for like a really cute gay rom-com from I think the early 2000s, so it's got, it's a little bit nostalgic. definitely recommend But I'm a Cheerleader. I think it's actually free on YouTube to watch, which is really excellent. Adorable rom-com about a girl who gets sent to conversion therapy, which sounds very dark, but it's sort of like a like fun, colorful satire of that whole process, and it's just like a fun movie. So if you're like teen and up, I would say it's a teen and up type of movie. Definitely check that out. All the girls and the gays love But I'm a Cheerleader. Absolute classic. Oh, I just realized how appropriate this is that you asked this question when I'm working on like a movie theater type build. Wow, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Wow, look at me. Okay, so I had a whole section here where I rambled about Pokemon movies for like way too long, and it was bad because Pokemon movies are generally not very good. Uh, they're fun if you like Pokemon, but if you don't, just don't. So I think instead for like a more like family friendly recommendation, I'll just recommend the original Dark Crystal by Jim Henson. I talked a lot about the TV show, The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, in my Celeste speed build, not the stream VOD, the speed build. I loved the Dark Crystal as a kid. It scared me. It definitely scared me, but it scared me in a way that it's like fun for a kid to get scared because it's about this completely alien fantasy world that you get to discover throughout the movie and has all these incredible puppets, and it paints such a vivid picture of this place and these creatures and their society and their history and lore, and it's just really fun to discover. And I don't know, I think that's something fun about like watching movies when you're a kid, is like discovering new worlds and like being inspired by them. That was so deep. Wow. Look at me. I'm amazing. Oh my god. And then once they've seen the Dark Crystal, then they can watch the prequel series, The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and then they can get all of the backstory and even more lore, and then they'll read the graphic novels, and then they'll just become obsessed. Oh yeah, by the way, both the show and the movie are on Netflix. But yeah, those are my movie recommendations. We'll talk about Pokemon movies another time, but not today. Definitely not today. We don't have time for that. As you can see, I was also trying to like have rugs on the ground and also have like wooden planks and then have the sand going out into the desert. I tried. I feel like it turned out okay. I think the desert part looks great, similar to my Savannah build. Once again, I'm pretty sure I've already linked that in the card, but if I haven't already, linking it now. And then the front area is I understood my own vision, sort of. The back is it's really giving, though. I will say that. In the same way that I went on a way too long tangent about Pokemon movies, I also went on a way too long tangent about my second favorite vegetable. So I'm just gonna say lima beans and let you glean from that what you will. Oh my god. Okay, this next question is from V's Verses, and it says, for the Q and gay, get it? Besides kicking butt in Animal Crossing, oh, thank you. What are your favorite things to do? My favorite things to do are sit in bed. No, I do things. I love to read. I love to write. Okay. Reading helps you write. So when I read more, I write better. But sometimes I just like don't want to read and I just want to write. I love to write. I love to do watercolors. I'm not very good at them, but I enjoy them immensely, especially because I feel like absolutely zero pressure to be good at it. So it's just very freeing. It's like, oh, I can just do art and it's like zero consequences. I love it. I'm a gamer, as you probably have gathered. Gaymer. So I play a lot of video games. I love to watch movies. I like to watch shows, but I have attention span issues, so it's not always viable. I love to sing. I'm very annoying. I guess that's like most of what I like to do, like off the top of my head. If I pick up any exciting new hobbies, besties, I'll let you know. Oh, we're back to the deep questions. Okay, this one is from Nayelin. I hope I pronounced your name right. It's very beautiful. Hey, how do you handle work, your personal life, and keeping up with YouTube? Don't you get burnout for the game, having to keep up with it so much? I love having you in the background when playing. You give off big sis energy, and it's really giving. I hope you have a great year. You deserve it. Oh, thank you. I don't know why I read the last part, but I'm glad I did, because it was very sweet. I give off big sis energy because I am a big sister, so Yeah, that's probably why. I do get burnt out. I am currently burnt out. I think that my creativity is both endless, but also like it gets stuck. Like, you know, it's sort of like if you had like a hose running and somebody like stepped on it. That's what my brain does to me sometimes, and like the water stops, or it gets all stuck and then it all comes out all at once. And I think that those are the moments when you get something like Coco's House, or like the Melba build, or the Starbucks build, or like the ones I'm really proud of and like felt really creative when I was doing them. And I think that the getting burnt out part comes from like wanting to be my best for you guys, because obviously the YouTube algorithm stresses me out to no end, because I want more people to see the videos and be able to find them, and in order to do that I have to do well in the algorithm so that YouTube shows the videos to people, but then beyond that, for like the people who subscribe and leave comments and come to the streams and all of that, the people who I interact with directly, it's really important to me that like I'm putting out stuff that I'm proud of. And I've sort of had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be 100% like proud of every single build in the way that I'm proud of like my favorite builds or my best builds, but I can still like learn things from them, and I can still like show you guys interesting techniques, or like try new things, or like have something funny to say and be entertaining, even if my creativity is in like a weird space. And that's sort of how I feel about this build, to be honest. So I am burnt out, and I think honestly getting encouragement from you guys of like I'm doing a good job, or you're like interested in what I'm doing, is helpful. Throwing out ideas to me is helpful, even if I don't take the advice. It's still out there for me in case I need it, and giving me room to experiment a little bit with my content, even though I'm so new to being like a creator that people actually watch. Is that a good answer? I don't know. This Q&A is really like peak rambling, besties. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope people who like watch videos to fall asleep, or watch videos while they're doing other things, I hope you're enjoying this, because this goes out to you. I do that all the time. So if that's you right now, shout outs to you. Appreciate you a lot. Make sure to give the video a like, because it helps me out. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding, but like, you know. Okay, next question. This one is from Adelaide. What would your island theme be if you had to pick something other than your current one? Probably a city island. Obviously, I've leaned more into the city-town vibes with the paths that I'm using. But I would go like full city island. Or maybe like a really like super duper themed island, like a dystopian island, or like an island that's like on the moon or something. I think that would be really fun. Or maybe like a horror island. Yes. Okay, I would love that. Okay, but first, normal like city island. And then themed island, possibly like a horror theme or like a sci-fi theme. That would be my choice. My next question is from Nick. Are you nervous about the popularity? My less scary question is, do you remember the first episode of Pokemon you watched? Appreciate the follow-up less scary question. Really helps ease my nerves. I am nervous about the popularity for the exact reason described in the last question, of just being able to keep up interesting content for you guys that is entertaining and helps me build on my skills as a decorator. The answer to the second question is, I was less than a year old when the pilot aired in 98, but I had the VHS tapes, and I remember having the fashion one, what's like Fashion Disaster or something like that. It's the one where they go to Scissor Street. I had that VHS tape. I don't know if that's the first episode that I watched. I also have really strong memories of the Saint Anne. To be honest, I could have seen the pilot first. But one of those I've been watching. I watched, even though I was born around the time that it came out, I have been watching Pokemon pretty much since I have been watching TV, I think. Okay, really quick, fast, final questions. All right, who's your favorite villager and why? My favorite villager is Kiki. I love her personality. I think she's adorable. She reminds me of my sister's cat. Okay, where do I see myself in 10 years? I am incapable of thinking that far ahead in my life, so it's just like a nebulous cloud. Hopefully, having a good time, chilling, being happy. Final question from Entity. What are your top 5 favorite video games and why? This is a very complex question that I feel like I'll end up talking about again in later videos of mine. But for right now, I guess I'll just go over 5 games that sort of shaped me as a gamer. Let's go with that. Obviously, number 1, Animal Crossing. As you know, we're not going to talk about Animal Crossing because you guys know I already like Animal Crossing. 1, The Sims 2. The Sims, period. If there's one thing The Sims has done, it has shaped my gaming habits, that's for sure. The number of hours I have in The Sims 4 speaks for that in and of itself. Number 2, Pokemon Pearl. It was the first Pokemon game that I ever beat, and even though Platinum is far superior in terms of like the pacing and the gameplay and all of that, I have a soft spot for Pearl and its incredible slow grindiness, and I feel really accomplished that I beat it. Katamari Damacy, it's fun and it makes me smile and I love it. The original Harvest Moon, not original, but like the Harvest Moon games for the GameCube, love those games. I love farming sims because of those games. And my final one is Rhythm Heaven. I love music and I love rhythm games, and those are just the best. Anyways, besties, thank you guys so much for watching. I actually have one more question I'm going to answer really quickly, and it's from Axel John. What are you looking forward to most this year? And I'll say making cool stuff for you guys. That is what I'm looking for most this year, and I'm going to keep up with that next week, next month, and beyond. So be on the lookout for all my new stuff. Thank you for leaving all your lovely questions. Thank you for commenting and liking the videos and subscribing. Thank you for coming to the streams. They're so much fun. If you want to know when I go live, hit the bell and make sure to set it to all notifications so you know every time that I post. And I'll see you all again on Wednesday. Bye, besties. Oh my god, that was such a little Simsy outro.